Hi guys, this is Coach Amber, one of the owners of Rec It Volleyball and Fistball Club. Today we're going to be answering one of our most common questions from you, the parents, and that is, what's the difference between beginner practice and tournament prep? So we understand that there's a lot of writing on our website, and a lot of the verbiage on the website may be a little bit confusing for some athletes or even parents when you're signing up. So in this video, we're going to be answering that question as well as giving different focal points and visual aid for you and your athlete, so when you're signing up, you feel safe and secure with whatever program you decide to sign up with. If you're still unsure after watching this, you are more than welcome to either email us or call one of our phone staff, and they will do their best to get back to you as quickly as possible. So thank you so much for watching, and let's get started. So in this portion of the video, we are going to be talking a little bit about the overhand serve. So in both of the classes, we are going to be having the athletes work on overhand serving. So we do not teach underhand serving even for our beginner classes. And the main reason is because we want to make sure that from beginner all the way up to rotations level 3, the athletes are getting enough time to work on their overhand serving, mainly because a lot of the high schools will not add you onto your team. You won't make the team unless you can overhand serve. So we want to give the athletes as much time to be able to actually get your serve over. And in all of these programs, there's no tournament associated, so it's okay if they're missing their serves every time they practice. So Coach Yadira is going to be demoing what we are going to be focusing on week by week for the beginner classes, and Coach Aman is going to be demoing what we would be doing in the tournament prep class. So Coach Yadira is going to go behind the cone. This is just to help you guys with a nice visual aid. In the beginner class, when we do overhand serving, we understand that a lot of the athletes have not learned overhand serving yet, or it's very new to them. So there's a lot of checkpoints that go into overhand serving. So week by week, we are going over certain concepts to help them progress into an overhand serve. So week 1, we would be working on the toss, keeping it in front and just tossing nice and high. Then week 2, we're going to be tossing as well as adding the weight transfer step. So that would be where they step into the ball. So when they serve, let's say it's week 1, it's okay if they don't do their weight transfer step and they just toss and swing. That's totally fine, because we want them focusing on just getting that toss nice and high. And now we're going to have Coach Aman demonstrating what the tournament prep athletes are going to do. So in week one, the beginners did just toss, and then week 2, they did the weight transfer step. Now in the tournament prep, they are learning more about strategy and moving the ball. So now they're going to be tossing and doing a weight transfer step side to side. So then now they're trying to move the ball around rather than just trying to hit the ball over. So Aman's going to toss to his left and weight transfer to his left. And now the ball is moving not as straight, now it's a little bit to the side. And same thing, if he wants to go the other direction, he steps and he tosses in that direction, so then the ball is going in a different direction. So that is one of the main differences between the serving level between beginner and the serving level between tournament prep. So the next skill that we're going to be discussing in both the tournament prep class as well as the beginner class is passing. So this could be forearm passing, or as some people know, bumping, or hand passing. So when we teach passing for our beginners, what the main focal point is more about the footwork and getting the body underneath the ball, making sure that there's no interlocking fingers, making sure that they're getting power from their legs versus swinging their arms for the power. And a lot of the passing is very straightforward. So Coach Yadira is going to be demonstrating that. So she's going to start in a ready position. You're going to notice her ready position is where she's leaning forward. Her hands are in front of her, versus as they get older, it gets a little bit wider. The other thing is that when she moves, you're going to notice she's putting a lot of emphasis on her footwork, where she's always taking 2 steps towards the ball. So we pass it, and she wants to make sure that she's using a lot of leg and then also minimizing how much arm swing she has. Versus if we do hand passing or overhand passing, what will happen is she still starts in her ready position, and then we toss the ball a little bit higher, and again she's just going to use her step, pass the ball nice and high, so then we can see the difference between the 2 passing styles. So step, hands come up, and she pushes. And notice she is right in front of that orange cone, which means that we're not creating a lot of angles when we're actually doing any of these passing concepts. Versus when we go into the tournament prep class, now we're starting concepts such as serve receive. And this is where you're going to do compound drills where there's multiple athletes doing the same drill. So when we do passing, now we're creating more angles. We already expect the athletes to be able to take the 2 steps, close their platform properly, communicate with each other. So now the focal points are getting around the ball, making sure you're communicating with somebody else, and also generating angles. So now we have a target zone, and let's say that the ball is in between the two players. If Aman were to pass straight forward, he's not passing to the target zone. So now he has to drop his shoulder and work on angles to be able to get that ball to the target zone. So now there's a little bit more of a higher expectation of being able to actually put the ball where it needs to go. Also, having a second player, you'll notice how Yadira is moving towards the target or the person who's passing. So now she's not just kind of standing on the court like this anymore. She's actually staying involved, and we're working on a concept called covering. So this is what that looks like. So they start in their ready positions. Good. Notice how it's a little bit more open now. Their ready positions are wider. We toss in between. Yadira is talking, and now Aman is creating more angles. And then same thing with hand passing. If the ball is higher, he's still going to take the ball. And notice how he's getting more comfortable having somebody near him, and he's still turning to create those angles. So rather than it just being straightforward in the beginner class, tournament prep, there's more emphasis on turning or creating those angles to get it to a very specific target zone. So let's keep going. So the next skill that we are going to be going over with the athletes is setting. So in our beginner program, we're going to have Coach Yadira demonstrating a couple of the skills that we teach with setting. So obviously in every program, we have the athlete's forward setting, which looks like this. So toss and a forward set. But another thing that we like to teach the athletes is something called back setting. So fun fact about me, when I first learned how to play volleyball, I didn't learn how to back set until I was 15 years old. And a lot of programs wait until the athletes are already assigned the position as a setter to learn how to back set. But we found that a lot of athletes at the younger ages, they usually go home and they practice setting. So we like to give them the concepts of back setting, so they do it a little bit more often when they first start. So what we typically will do is we will give the athlete a ball. They will start in the setter zone. We'll have a hitter. So this would be the right side hitter. And at first, it'll just be a target. So they're just going to catch the ball. So Yadira is going to toss the ball to herself, back set, and then they're going to try to catch the ball. And then from there, they would do that drill. If you have a more advanced player, and a lot of them are like that, then we'll add the element of them trying to hit it. So Yadira sets to herself, and then they're going to stay on the ground for now, and then they're going to try to hit the ball. Now, in the tournament prep program, there's more emphasis on the movement towards the ball versus the hand mechanics of actually setting forward and back. So when we have players in the tournament prep class learning how to set, they're actually coming from the back row and running to a target zone. So it's no longer I'm just standing here and setting because I'm standing here. Now I'm meeting the ball when I'm coming up to set. So we're still going to have the element of back setting, but now we're going to have athletes watching a ball thrown by a coach or even a passer, and then we're going to add the element of a player doing their hitting approach. So notice how much more is happening in the drills in the tournament prep class. It's no longer one concept, maybe adding two. There's a lot of compound elements in each class and each concept, because eventually they're going to be in a tournament and they need to be able to do all of these together. So you're going to look at Coach Aman. He's going to run from the back row, and then notice what Coach Yadira is doing. She's starting at the 10-foot line, already transitioned to hit, and she's going to do a full hitting approach and do her best to hit in the court. So I slap the ball, he runs up, he's waiting, I toss it nice and high, he back sets, she does a full approach, and then they move back to defense. So notice how much more movement there is. So now with some of the athletes that are later in the season or even starting to get ready for the next level, you're going to notice a little bit more movement if you watch Coach Yadira. So she's going to be coming off the net as Coach Aman is running towards the net. So it'll look like this. So she jumps up, she transitions off, Aman back sets, she does her approach, hits the ball, and then they go to defense. So the difference between beginner and tournament prep is beginner is very, very fundamental. It's more about what the hand mechanics should look like when you're doing certain skills, versus tournament prep is putting those fundamentals together, making it a little bit more advanced, and having it that eventually when they do gameplay in the future, they're going to be moving back and forth. So this is a pretty big jump because there are a lot of concepts. Again, this is not just on day one. This is what we're working on throughout the whole program. So just keep that in mind when you're watching this video. So let's go to the next skill. So the next skill that we're going to be talking about is the concept of transitioning. So we saw a little bit of it in the setting portion of the video, but we are going to put a little bit of emphasis on the difference between beginner transitioning as well as tournament prep transitioning. So Coach Yadira is going to be demonstrating what the athletes are going to look like when we do our basic transitioning concepts. So the concepts that we're mainly focusing on are the athletes jumping and landing facing the net, opening up towards their setter, and closing towards their setter. So we shouldn't see anybody spinning when they're doing this. She's going to be shuffling rather than running, which is something that we do with the older kids, but this is what it'll look like. So she jumps up, good, opens up, shuffles, looks at the coach, turns back. From here, then we're going to combine the concept of the hitting approach based on what we've taught them, and the coaches are going to then toss the ball up, so then she can then work on her hitting. So this is their first concept of a compound drill where we're adding two elements, and it's not just, okay, I'm standing here and I'm transitioning, or I'm standing here and I'm hitting. Now it's her first time doing a compound drill where I'm transitioning, which is one skill, and then I'm also working on hitting, which is another skill. So she's going to start at the net. He's going to slap the ball. She's going to jump up, open up. She's going to shuffle, and then he's going to toss and set. She's going to hit, and then go to defense. Now, the older athletes are going to be having more of a different mechanic when they're actually transitioning. So rather than opening up and just shuffling, there's the element of opening up and turning so you can see your passer. So now the compounds are allowing to have another element in where it's not just opening up, transitioning, and then also hitting. Now we have the element of a passer, so there's more compound going on. But we still have the coaches as setters in the drills, so then if the pass isn't great, the coach has the ability to kind of speed up or slow down the drill as needed based on what the athlete is needing in transitioning. So now you're going to notice how Yadira is no longer just opening up and shuffling. She's actually turning and running and then turning back when she gets ready. And if Aman is setting, which he's acting as a coach right now and we're acting as athletes, if he is setting and he sees that Yadira is not fully transitioned, he's going to catch the ball, give her time, ask her if she's ready, and then go on. So it'll look like this. Good. So I pass the ball. He looks. And then from there, then we go to defense. So notice how much harder the drill is because we have the element of him tipping. Sometimes the ball will be shorter, sometimes it'll be different, deeper to the sides. So now there's those elements that we were talking about of creating angles and energy management. It's no longer just a ball thrown directly to us anymore. Now we got to actually move the athletes around when we're doing our skills. So let's go to the next drill. And the final skill that we do where both levels are working on them, but they have different focal points for beginner and tournament prep, is the element of hitting. So in our beginner class, typically we like to toss the ball on top of the athletes or within one step of them, so they have the ability to keep the ball in front of them, to learn how to generate power. It's more focused on keeping the hand nice and strong, them getting more comfortable using only one arm to send the ball over, and keeping the ball higher than their shoulders so then they have the ability to actually hit the ball. Versus in tournament prep, it's going to be a little bit different. There's going to be different focal points. So let's start with the beginner class. So we're going to first start off where the coaches are at the net. The athlete is about 10 feet off of the net. The coaches are going to toss the ball on top of them, and it's mainly just focused on them hitting the ball over and getting a little extra power when they swing. So it'll look like this. And then as they get a little bit more comfortable, we'll toss a little bit further in front of them where they'll do a mini approach. So that would be the main focal points that we do for beginners. So we put the ball directly in front of them. All they're worrying about is getting under the ball, generating power, and trying to hit the ball over. Versus our tournament prep athletes, we're now trying to expand their area of coverage, where now they're not going to be athletes that are saying, I need it higher, I need it here, can you push it out a little bit further? We want to have it that they learn how to move towards the ball while still making sure that it's put in. So now Aman is going to be on the court and he's going to be turning towards the ball, and notice how much extra movement he's doing from the ground. So Yadira is going to be tossing for him. So at first he's going to stay on the ground, but it's going to be kind of far away from him. So the first one's going to go inside of the court. So notice how much more he's moving towards that ball. Now let's say he does his approach and the ball is now behind him. So he's going to do his approach, and then the ball's gonna go behind him. He's now taking steps back and being able to hit that ball where even though his momentum is going backwards, we still need to get our feet under the ball. And this is where now the athletes, as they get a little bit older in the program, we're gonna be working on the timing of a full approach where they're doing full footwork, arm swing, and trying to put the ball in the court with as much power as they can. So thank you so much for watching our video. If you have any more questions, feel free to email us at info@reckittvolleyball.com or give us a call. We will definitely try our best to answer any questions that you have. Just know that our phone staff are coaches for our company, so there are certain times that they are going to be coaching, which means that if you call us between the hours of 6 to 9 p.m. during the week, we may not be available to answer our phones, as well as in the mornings on the weekends. So just keep that in mind. Definitely leave us a voicemail and we'll do our best to get back to you as soon as possible. So thank you so much for your time and consideration, and we hope to see you soon. Bye.